welcome to BV Interviews, Brooklyn Vegans interview podcast. I'm BV editor Andrew Sacker, and today we are talking to Dave King from Flogging Molly. Dave, very sadly, earlier this year, suffered a traumatic brain injury. Doctors told his wife that she may never see him again, and fortunately, Dave made it through. Doctors told him it was a miracle, and he's back. Flogging Molly are gearing up to play their annual Salty Dog Cruise in October of 2026. Dave told me that he's already writing new music. He said one of the first things he did was he picked up his guitar and started writing new music. So there's a lot to look forward to from Flogging Molly. We are so happy that Dave is okay, and he's here to tell us his story. So here's my interview with Dave King. Hey, Dave, welcome to the Brooklyn Vegan Interviews podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, I mean, we're kind of going to dive in. You've had, a lot going on, but how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling, considering what I have been through, and you realize every day more and more what I have been through. And it's like, I'm doing really good. Yeah.
That's amazing to hear.
Thank you.
So, yeah, tell us a little bit you went through some really scary stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about just kind of what happened.
Well, they think the problem might have been, believe it or not, my blood pressure medication might have been too high. And what happened is my blood pressure got so low that I fainted. Now, unfortunately, I fainted on a staircase. And I collapsed and I fractured my skull. And I was in a very, very bad situation, only for my darling wife, Bridget, who I've put through hell because of this. As you can imagine, she got the ambulance. They took us to the first hospital in Wexford town where we live. And apparently they just looked at me and said, no, Dublin. And so we had to turn around and drive over 2 hours to Dublin. And when I got to the Dublin hospital in Beaumont, they looked at me and got me on the table, and they told my wife she may never see me again. And for 3 weeks, they told her that. They said the chances of him surviving are not great. And if I did in fact survive, I would probably be a vegetable for the rest of my life. But I'm a talking vegetable. No, but I mean, I'm working hard. And as I said, well, my darling wife beside me, I would not be sitting here. That's for sure. But so I had 3 brain surgeries in January and February. And I've been recuperating since.
Wow. I mean, that is even scarier than I realized, honestly. Yeah. How did your wife react when she was told she might never see you again? I mean, you had to stay strong and go through with this process and hope for the best.
Well, I was not in control of any of it. It was either that or I was dead, quite frankly. But my wife, she's been through the mill with this. She really has, Bridget. She's been through the mill. And it's been really, really tough on her. I mean, there's 2 victims here. There's myself and Bridget. And we're doing the best that we can to recoup together. And we are. And we're getting better every day. And you've got to look towards the future. That's all you can do, especially after an instance like this. It came out of nowhere. It was like, it's hard to explain, I could show you pictures that would terrify you right now, but, of me back then. And the hospital in Beaumont in Dublin, I have to congratulate them, Dr. Kieran Sweeney, and his crew. They basically saved my life. There's no 2 ways about it. And they told me when I was leaving the hospital that I was a miracle. coming from scientists to say that you're a miracle is pretty, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you suffered a brain hemorrhage, is that correct?
Well, I suffered a brain hemorrhage because of this. Yeah.
Hmm. And
I,
then go
yeah.
ahead.
Well, no. I mean, a brain hemorrhage. They had to take out half of my skull with the pressure, and they put my skull in my stomach for 5 weeks to keep it safe uh, and sterilized. And 5 weeks later, they put my skull back in. And 5 days later, they sent me out of hospital. And yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a traumatic brain injury, TBI, and it is. I mean, it is. It does get. I mean, every day is different for me. I wake up different kind of every day, and I have to kind of. I'm in a hotel. I'm so sorry. The phone was ringing, but I have to take it day by day, and I have to plan the course of the day every day. You know, but having things like the cruise to look forward to really, really helps so much. I'm already on the ship, in my head, and it's good for me picking up the guitar, play. I've actually written a couple of songs since this happened, and I've actually sang them to the band over the phone, and they're really, really excited about them. So, I mean, it's there is, I got to stay positive and look to the future.
Yeah, 100%. And that's really exciting to hear. And I want to ask more about that soon. But first, I want to ask, so you, after going through, from what I read on your Instagram was after you went through the first two surgeries, you were in a coma for 2 weeks. That's correct?
I was in a coma for 3 weeks, and I had
3 weeks.
surgeries. I had three brain surgeries, and I was in a coma for 3 weeks. And yeah, I mean, I came home, and it's hard to describe such a traumatic experience, and to make it sound cohesive, because I don't really remember that much, to be honest with you. But it's been I work out as many days a week as I can, you know, physical. I do mental therapy work. Uh, I went back to America, where I got an amazing team, cognitive therapists. I got, you know, I got neurologists. I got all sorts of people trying to guide me, and they all say the same thing. From what I've been through, where I am is incredible. I mean, when I was leaving the hospital in Dublin, they said to me, they were like, we have patients who have been through what you've been through, and they're 2 years out of it, and you are so in such an incredible position right now. You really have responded so well to what you've been through, and it goes, obviously, with something like this, it's an individual to individual kind of scenario. There's not one big solution here, and it's just a matter of me staying positive, looking after myself as best I can, and doing the things that I've always loved to do as best I can. So yes, I mean, it's a time for me to be thankful. I mean, like, for example, they said, he may never see his next birthday. Guess what? My birthday's tomorrow. So
Happy early birthday.
thank you. So, I mean, I've made it by the looks of it this far. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that you're here. You sound great. You're telling your story. You're getting excited to get back on stage. It's incredible. And I'd imagine, like you said, I can only imagine how hard it must be to recount some of this stuff just because of like physically being unable to sort of, remember just everything that happened. And,
Yeah.
but But I guess just one more question on that. I mean, when you woke up from the coma and once you kind of got to the point where like you were coherent and the doctors could talk to you and tell you what was going on. I mean, what was your reaction just to hearing them tell you what you had been through and that they were, now here you are and and it's looking good for you?
Well, I mean, when I woke up from the coma, my wife asked me who she was. She said to me, she said, "Hi, Dave, it's me. Who am I?" And I said, "The love of my life."
Oh,
I mean, I get teared up just thinking of that.
yeah.
I mean, I just was so grateful to see the love of my life. I had put her through so much. I mean, my poor wife, I don't remember anything in the hospital, to be honest with you, but my wife remembers everything because she was there every day and she's seen what I went through. And she honestly thought that there was no chance. I mean, and all my friends that came to the hospital, they were planning a funeral. Uh, and I'm, I'm glad to say I disappointed them all, you know. Uh,
I
yeah,
mean, it's a great way to disappoint somebody.
yeah, it really is. So, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I really don't remember much. I remember a funny little thing. Well, it is to me now, and that is, uh, the one of the physios in the hospital said to me, "Well, we're going to test you." They brought me down to the kitchen in the hospital, and they said, "Okay, make tea, toast, and some boiled eggs for people." And
I'm losing you. I'm losing you.
and for your listeners, I'm on the west coast of Ireland, visiting relatives in Westport. But yeah, and so what they did was they took me down to the kitchen in the hospital and asked me to cook some boiled eggs and toast and make some tea for people, uh, and chop, certain vegetables and stuff. So, yeah, that was part of my rehabilitation. It was to see was my any of my cognitive skills still together. I did that, and they said, "You look really." The physios were like, "You look really, really well, as regards where you're going, how you're doing things." So, yeah, it's it'll be a long process, that's for sure. By being able to plan things like the Salty Dog Cruise and hopefully the Warp Tour next year, uh, I have goals, you know? I have goals to attain and to aspire to. So, yeah, that's a good thing. I'm very lucky to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you tell me about the first time you picked up a guitar again after all this, was there any adjustment period there or was it instant?
Um, it was, I actually, funny enough, I used it to write. I actually picked up the guitar and said, "Okay, I'm going to put down a little song here." Uh, and I've been practicing a few of our songs, and I feel pretty good about it. I think you see, playing music and writing songs seems like a very natural thing for me to do, and it's also a great part of recovery from what I've been through. It's a great thing to be able to do, to pick up a guitar and play and even create something new from that experience. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I'm actually getting excited about that, getting into a room again with my darling wife and my bandmates, and I'm working together again. Yeah, see, Flogging Molly has always been about celebration,
Hmm.
celebration of life, and this for me will be a celebration.
Yeah. So
Mm.
so these new songs you mentioned, like whenever the next Flogging Molly album comes out, like do you think you're going to be kind of writing about this experience?
Well, like I only write how I feel and what hits me at the time, and write. Well, these last two songs have definitely been about that because, as you can imagine, as we're talking here, it was quite an experience and quite uh, both mental, physical, everything. It was, and whether I like it or not, they're coming out. I don't put a shutter down or go, oh, I can't write about that or I can't do it. I have to. It's the only way I feel connected and honest is by being that way. If it's coming out, let it come out. It'll stop when it's ready to stop, and I'll move on to something else. But yeah, I'm. I mean, as I said, I sang a couple of my ideas over the phone to my bandmates, and they're like, "Wow, when can we start working on these?" So yeah, hopefully in the new year, we're going to be heading back to the United States after Christmas, and I want to get together with everybody and start a new year off better than this one.
Well, that's really exciting. I'm excited to hear. Yeah.
And you know
So
what?
at what
Thank you for calling, because you know what? It's so nice. Not so nice. That's the wrong way to put it, but it's very therapeutic to talk about it to somebody. Do you know what I mean? Like this is my first time to ever talk to really anybody on this level about what I've been through, and it is good to talk about it. It's okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And likewise, thank you for opening up. I mean, it's, we're all, we got that really scary update from the band earlier this year. And then the cruise was announced and that was exciting. And so it's great to hear, all of this from you. I'm over the moon that you're able to get back out there so quickly. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is I actually had a meeting with my neurosurgeon yesterday up in Dublin. And he was saying, once I do things gradually, I just couldn't go into like a 3-month tour, say, on a tour bus, gigging 5 nights a week. There's no way I could do that right now. But by doing the cruise, by doing hopefully the Warped Tour next year, it will guide me into getting my body and my brain on the same page. And it's like being an athlete, getting it into shape for doing what I love to do,
Yeah. So at what point in your recovery process did you kind of realize like, okay, I think I'm going to be okay to get on stage again? And then you started, getting the wheels turning on booking the next cruise.
Well, I think the thing is when you do something that is so natural to you, and performing with Flogging Molly is that it's just like walking or lifting a spoon. Do you know what I mean? In the sense that it's part of me. It'll never go away. It will never. Once I can lift a spoon, I want to perform in this band, and that's the way I look at it. It's good for me, and it's good for hopefully everybody else. I mean, I'll never forget. I called the rest of the band and we were talking, and I said to him, listen, I'm so sorry for taking your livelihoods away from you right now. And they all said to me, Dave, you gave us our livelihood.
Oh.
What do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like, yeah, it's my life, it's me and my wife's life together and our band together, and I'll do everything I can. And I am doing everything I can to be there for myself, for my wife, for the band, and for everybody else. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. So just for listeners, the cruise is, of course, Flogging Molly's Salty Dog Cruise. Yeah. And you've been doing this for actually over a decade now. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about this cruise for you. Like, what do you like about it? What keeps you coming back to this every year? I mean, to have your band to have its own cruise, you book these awesome lineups every year. It's something we're seeing a little bit more and more of, but grand scheme of things, it's still relatively rare. There's probably only a few dozen bands that do something like this. So yeah, tell me a little bit about this, for you.
Well, for a band like, I can only just obviously speak for a band like Flogging Molly. The reason why we have continued doing it and have loved doing it is that it's okay to have fun in this life. And I think with the cruises, you get people, and there's flags from all over the world decked on the decks. So you've got people from Brazil, Norway, everywhere, Ireland, US, Brazil, you name it, Germany, you have all these flags flying on the ship from people all over the world. And it's like, we all get together. Just, it's okay to enjoy life. It's okay to have a bit of fun in the world that we live in. It's okay. It's okay. And I think that's what I realized personally for me was that, because to be honest with you, I mean, I really didn't know what a cruise would involve. I'd never been on one before. And I probably would never will be on any other one, obviously. But for us, I think it is that. We're on the ocean, and there's nobody telling you can't do this, you can't do that. It's just, we're there just to enjoy at least 5 days of unbridled fun, and that's it. It's okay. We don't have to think too hard about it, just do it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that Flogging Molly has the kind of fan base that, you can keep doing this and people keep wanting to come do it with you.
And may I, as you said there, may I thank all the people who have reached out to myself and Bridget to wish us well. It means so much. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
So on top of that, of course, Flogging Molly plays the cruise every year. You always put together a really awesome lineup. I mean, this upcoming cruise, you have Bad Religion, Frank Turner, The Addicts, Lucero, Spiritual Cramp, The Rumjacks, Catbite, a handful of other bands. How personally involved are you with the curation of these lineups?
Oh, we all throw in our bands that we want on, and we're very fortunate over the years of doing what we do. We've met so many wonderful people. As you said, they're Bad Religion, Frank, Lucero. I mean, so many people that we've come to know, and always we all reach out to each other. We're very fortunate and very lucky to be doing what we do, and to have our friends join us is fantastic. Yeah, we're very lucky.
And I love that it's not only is it these sort of longtime peers and friends, bands you've played with probably, countless times on the Warped Tour and other tours, but you have these newer bands like, again, like Catbite is such a newer band. And I think I want to say Scal was booked on maybe a past cruise. Like, it's very cool to see the different generations, sort of passing the torch forward, shining a light on these younger bands. What are some of your favorite younger bands right now?
Some of my favorite younger bands right now. Well, do you know what? It's hard for me to remember things like that, but I'll tell you something. I'm in Westport in Ireland right now, and there's a man called Matt Malloy who has a pub. He's from the Chieftains, and he has a pub in Westport called Matt Malloy's. And we were down in the pub last night, Matt Malloy's in Westport, and there was a band on called the After Eights, and they were absolutely brilliant. The atmosphere was incredible. It was just in the back room of his pub, about 150 people there, and they were just, it brought me back to why I wanted to be in a band. The community aspect of it, it felt so good. The music was brilliant, and it was just wonderful. and I'd never seen before or heard of them before. But I'll definitely will be coming back to Westport, hopefully every Tuesday to see them. They were fantastic. But I mean, yeah. And I went to see, when I was back in Detroit, went to see a few bands while we were there, and it made me realize how much I miss it. You know, watching bands on stage, giving it everything they have, um, was just a wonderful thing. And it reminded me how much I miss it. So I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to it. I really am.
Yeah. And this is something I kind of talk about with people a lot. But, I think a lot of people, they just devour music like crazy in their teens and early 20s. They kind of get older and they kind of want the same thing they've always wanted. How does kind of finding new music, really learning to love new music, differ for you now? Like, is it something that you have to be more conscious about, or do you feel like you fall in love with music as naturally as you did as a teenager?
Well, like you see, I've always had a very diverse love of what I loved. I mean, I remember I used to be in a heavy metal band called Fastway with Fast Steady from Motorhead. And we were doing our thing. But like, while we were on tour with Fastway, I'd be listening to like Depeche Mode and all, The Cure and all these bands. And then, I'd be listening to Beethoven, and I'd be listening to, the Dubliners, you know, the Pogues. I'd be listening to all sorts of music. I don't know. I think that's what made me always want to be a musician, because I kind of felt what they were doing. I kind of, even though I didn't write the songs that they were playing, I felt them. And I felt them in a way that I wanted to be able to do that. And as I said, yeah, I mean, even though Beethoven, obviously, there's no lyrics, no words, Beethoven to me spoke more to me than most people did, just by his music. And that's what I always wanted to do in my life with music. And I just was very lucky to get the opportunity with Flogging Molly to be able to do that, you know? And what you want to hear will eventually come to your ears. It will come to your ears. By all means, go out and try and find it. But sometimes it's okay for it to come to you. I think for me, that was the way it worked for me. It came to me, as opposed to going out and searching for something to hear. It had to come to me.
I mean, I think that's often the stuff that I fall the most in love with, the stuff that just kind of comes to you when you're ready for it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So you're talking about, you had such diverse taste in music, listening to all different kinds of things. And then obviously with Flogging Molly, which has now been a band for over 25 years, you kind of landed on this like Celtic punk thing. And I've always kind of found it interesting that obviously there was the Pogues, but after that, I mean, you kind of came up alongside a handful of these other US or North American bands doing kind of a similar thing, like Dropkick Murphys and the Tossers and the Real Mackenzies. And when you were getting started with Flogging Molly, did you kind of sense that there was this growing Celtic punk thing happening in North America? Or is this something that clicked for you later after the band started to take off and you found similar bands?
Way after. I mean, I had no clue when we started, because my kind of love, it started when I met Bridget, and we started playing music together, and then the rest of our band would come and see us, and then we grew into what we are, Flogging Molly. And you see, to me, you say the Pogues, and well, they got it from somewhere too, and it's in a long list of, to me, Irish music was always punk rock music. And what the Pogues did, they took it to a different generation. And I think bands like the Dubliners and the Clancy Brothers had done before them, and all that So to me, when I realized to me that Irish music was punk rock music, that's when I wanted to bring it all over the world. And then we were fortunate enough to meet the Tossers and bands like obviously Dropkick Murphys, and it was amazing to see. Yeah, it was like, wow, this is incredible. Uh, I'd never seen it like that before, in the sense that I didn't know there was a little thing in North America going like that, because I was just doing what my heart felt like I should be doing, you know. But I definitely wanted it, and I was living in America at the time, and I couldn't go back home to Ireland, so it was my way of kind of going back home without physically going back home. So it was more spiritual, uh, but it had Irish music. Always had that punk rock thing to me. It really did. Whether it was a fiddle or a tin whistle, accordion, it was always, gnarly at the same time. Even though it was beautiful, it would it would take your head off if you wanted to, in the sense that it would blast you off. So I wanted to continue that and take it to a different generation. Uh, so that was the reason why I thought Flogging Molly was a thing. And then, as I said, to meet people like Ken and the Dropkicks, and that was fantastic. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool for me. I mean, like I grew up in New York. I started getting into punk music probably around the time that Flogging Molly and Dropkick Murphys were releasing like your first and second records. So like to me, that was my introduction to also Irish folk music. Like I would hear these traditional songs that you guys would play that I never would have known. And it's like, if not for bands like yourselves, I probably never would have found those kinds of songs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're very lucky, like, in the sense, like, I remember one time a few years ago, we were in Amsterdam, and it was Bridget's birthday. And I said, "What would you like to do, love?" And she's like, "You know what? I think I'd love to play a session, an Irish traditional session." So we found a pub in Amsterdam, an Irish pub, and we went there, and the owner knew who we were. So we were playing, and he got on his computer, and the next thing you knew, we were just in the corner playing traditional Irish music. And next thing you know, the pub is completely jammed, and it's an amazing night. Well, we were just sitting there playing traditional Irish music. The very next day, we were playing with the Rolling Stones. That's the type of band Flogging Molly is.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, just do it.
What's your favorite traditional Irish song?
Now, listen, that is a ridiculously impossible question to answer.
Yeah, sure.
So I can't give you. I mean, good God, I mean, oh, I mean, okay, off the top of my head, quickly, there's one, "The Parting Glass" by the Dubliners. I mean, there's way too many. I mean, you're talking about decades and decades of Irish music. I mean, every song the Pogues ever written, pretty much. Uh, the Dubliners, Luke Kelly singing Raglan Road. I mean, could be a cliched one to mention, but it is an unbelievable song. To choose a favorite, that's impossible.
I hear that.
It's soul. See, Irish music to me is soul music, in the sense it comes from the soul. It is, and that's why it's punk rock.
So when it comes to writing music, again, you mentioned you have new music coming. You've been writing as soon as you picked up your guitar. What's different about how you approach writing music today compared to, the early days of Flogging Molly?
Not an iota. Nothing. Nothing has changed. It's exactly the same that way. The guitar speaks to me, and I speak to my guitar. That's it. And nothing has changed.
I like to ask this question because sometimes that's the answer, and sometimes the answer is everything has changed. It's completely different. So I'm always curious. Your last record that you made, Anthem, which came out in 2022, you reunited with Steve Albini, who obviously has since sadly passed, but is such a legend. And so I have to ask, what did you like about working with Steve?
Where do I begin? You were always going to be yourself. That's all he wanted, is what you wanted. Steve, he was a wonderful man that we connected with dearly. And he never, ever took away from what we wanted to be. And that was just to be ourselves. And he, whether he liked our type of music or not, it didn't matter. He just wanted what you wanted to hear, what you thought represented you the best. He just wanted to get that for you. You know, he was a wonderful, and like, you know, I came from some experiences where you meet somebody and instead of trying to get the best for you, they try to get the best for what they think other people want to hear or whatever. But Steve never did that. Steve just wanted you to be happy and to be proud of what you did with him. And we most certainly were. He was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, even just as like a fan, a listener, I think the thing that stands out to me about, I think every record I can think of that Steve has worked on is it just sounds like there's very little between you and the music the band is making. It just feels very authentic to what
great way of putting it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a great way of putting it. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I really miss the sense of humor. I really miss that. We used to laugh so much together. He had an incredible sense of humor. He really did.
So you mentioned earlier the Warped Tour, which obviously is something Flogging Molly has played many times. You played it when it was probably at the peak of its popularity. And I mean, the band kind of came around when punk music was so popular in America. So in that way, it was sort of kind of an opportune time for the band to have formed. I'm just kind of wondering, what kind of impact did that have on Flogging Molly? Like being a punk band at a time when the US punk scene was really having this big boom.
Well, I think the Warped Tour was probably one of the biggest impacts on our lives as a band. I mean, Kevin Lyman is a very passionate man about what he does, and you can tell from the Warped Tour, it's full of passion and it's full of the opportunity to do what bands get to do on the Warped Tour will never be forgotten. I mean, you know, it helped so many bands to understand themselves, to learn about themselves, and it was incredible to do. I mean, I can remember the very first gig we did on the Warped Tour, and we walked down stage, and obviously Bridget's on the fiddle, with banjo, accordion, and you could see the fans going in the crowd like, "Well, what's going to happen? What the hell's going to happen here?" And I purposely started the set with The Likes of You Again, which starts just with me on the acoustic guitar. Then the fiddle comes in, and you could see people looking at us going, "Well, what the hell is going on here?" And then we get, and we kick in, and the whole place just erupted. And it was, as you can tell, it was unforgettable. For us, it was unforgettable. Never forget that moment. And it was our first ever tour of America. It was the Warped Tour. And that's where we met the Bosstones. We toured with them. And yeah, it was, as a band on the Warped Tour, it was such a communal spirit. Everybody, from the kitchen to everybody that worked on the Warped Tour, to the bands that played the Warped Tour, we all became a community. And we were all in this together. And it was just a wonderful, positive experience. The only thing bad I would say about the Warped Tour is the weather. As an Irishman playing in Texas, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, I can count the times I actually melted on stage. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And you know what? I really hope it works out for next year for us, because that would be, to see Kevin and the gang again would be unbelievable. And to see the crowds, memories, come on. Unbelievable. So much to look forward to.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I was just at that festival in Las Vegas when we were young. Do you know about that festival?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
And it's like they kind of book all the bands that played the Warped Tour in the early 2000s, and the sort of premise is, to relive those years, and just being there, like that same community you're talking about is like still alive, and it's really special to see.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, yes, I've had a traumatic, myself, my wife, we have had a traumatic year, but sometimes it's also good to never grow up. You know what I mean? In the sense that keep your spirit about you. Keep what you are all about you. And you'll be okay. And celebrate life. Please celebrate life.
Well, I think that's a beautiful note to end on. Anything you want to add before we go?
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk, to say hello and to let everybody know there's a lot more left, whether you like it or not.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. Thanks again to Dave for coming on the show and telling us his story. We are so happy that Dave is doing well. Really looking forward to Flogging Molly getting back out there, playing the Salty Dog Cruise, hopefully playing Warped Tour, making new music. Really, really looking forward to that. Flogging Molly is a great band, and we are lucky to have them for all these years, and we're very happy that they're still going. If you liked what you heard, please tell your friends about this podcast. Like it, give us a good rating, subscribe to it. We have more episodes coming. Also, subscribe to Brooklyn Vegan's other podcast, BV Weekly. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for listening. See you next time.